The Plant Path.
Hi, welcome to Plant Path Podcast today. My name is Oluwatosi Mugbadoade and I'm so excited to be with you. All right, it's a few days to Christmas and we're excited to bring you this amazing episode. It's our book review day. All right, so we are reviewing a book. The title of the book is Nearly All the Men in Lagos Are Mad by Damilare Kuku. Eh? This book is a whole vibe. Trust me, it is just on another level on its own. It's a compilation of short stories. I love the back cover. It was designed by Oriahi Ofu Anderson. I really like the front cover. Really nice. Maybe because it's in some really amazing colors. All right, so like you said, it's a compilation of short stories. Let's go on a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Remember that Plant Path Podcast is brought to you by Plant Path Consult, your number one place in Africa for SDG4 quality education, news, resources, consults, collaborations, partnerships, and lots more. Thank you so much. We'll be right back.
The Plant Path.
All right, so it's a compilation of short stories, as I said earlier, and it's not something that I can really summarize as like our other book reviews, but then I'll just be giving you the gist. First off, it's dedicated to Oluremi Abake, and you who has dealt with a madman, I salute you. Okay, so we don't know who Oluremi Abake is. We don't know who Oluremi Abake is to the author. Okay, so the first title, the first short story is called Cock Up. Cuckup. All right. When I first saw the first paragraph, I was like, "Eh, blood of Philip, what is this?" I beg go. If you think I'm actually being dramatic, let me read to you the first page. One night, you will calmly put a knife to your husband's penis, and promise to cut it off. It will scare him so much that the next day he will call his family members for a meeting in the house. We will not call your family members, but you will not care. You don't need them. You're so you're wondering what happened. How come they are the woman wants to cut off her husband's penis? Or threaten to cut it off, promise to cut it off. Okay, so let's go on. Your husband's family will crowd the new apartment, a bedroom and a parlor, self-contained by Lagos agent, called self-contained by Lagos agent. You got 3 months ago. It will feel like they surround you. They will exclaim, sigh, frown, click their tongues, gnash their teeth, and repeat a million times that you committed an abomination. His pot-bellied uncle Buraimo, who always lays at your bosom, will point to you and say, Shebi, we point to you and say, Shebi, I told him not to marry you. I said marry someone from our tribe. Igbo women are dangerous. You will say this while ogling your bosom. Well, I blame him for not handling you properly. Because if it was me who was handling you, he will beat his chest in anguish at this point. If it was me, you wouldn't have tried this nonsense. His elder sister Azizat will pretend to appeal to your shared womanhood. You see, as a woman myself, I know men can be difficult, but what you have done is terrible. No woman has done this in our family. In fact, it is a disgrace to womanhood to want to cut your husband's member. Haba, if you cut Lukumon's member, how will you people have another child? You know we expect that next child to be a boy. You will be amused that she calls it member. It will make you smile. They will misinterpret your life, your smile. You are smiling at your evil, Abi. You are not well. You hear me? You are mad. Lati, his immediate elder sister, with a tiny voice, will jump and bark at you before someone will tell her to calm down. So you can see how amazing that felt. I mean, this is one of those books that this is a book that if you get you have to just finish it before you drop it. It's 197 pages in all. Okay, so let's do a quick review. So chapter one, cock up reveals the setting of Lukman and his wife Isioma's family. They have a daughter Olaoluwa Kiton, fondly known as Kiton, and of course there's a family meeting going on at their home, from what you have heard me read. Or do you think that a woman who threatens to cut off her husband's penis, doesn't deserve a good family meeting? Okay, so before you judge Isioma, listen please. So pot-bellied Uncle Buraimo is in attendance. This Lukman's family, they're actually someone really. They are someone. You know, you heard me say reading that he ogles at Isioma's bosom anytime he sees her, like he stares at her. In fact, there was a time they were both broke that Lukman will send Isioma to go to the uncle to beg for money for food, and in the name of saying of greeting our wife, embracing her, he will be tightening her bosom to his body. And also this Lukman's family, they are just for somehow. Aside pot-bellied Uncle Buraimo, we also have his eldest sister, Lukman's eldest sister, Azizat, and the tiny-voiced immediate elder sister, Lati. There's also someone, this character is interesting, Lukman's older cousin, Mufu. In fact, that guy is a thief. During the meeting, this particular meeting, he has even tried to steal your husband's, Isoma's husband's wristwatch, and you had to tell him to please drop it because you were noticing him. He likes to he's a pickpocket. In fact, pick things in people's houses. So of course the entire family was embarrassed when that happened, because that's like one more point for Isioma. So she started Isioma started thinking whether her life would have been different or not if she had married other suitors. And when I was reading it, you just dawned on me that, Tosin, do you actually reflect on whether you actually made the right decision, or maybe my life has also would have also turned differently if I made certain decision? I think that as humans, yes, it's good to make those reflections, but I think that also when our decisions turn out very well, we usually don't reflect on the factors that made those decisions turn out well. And once the decisions turn out bad, we blame ourselves too often. We beat ourselves up too often, and which is not good. So in our case, if someone was actually overwhelmed by Lukumon's charm, it felt right to her then, at the time. It felt right to her then. But really, do you think that like a relationship feeling right and there's so much love, do you think is enough for a marriage to grow, to thrive? Well, I think there are a lot of factors need to be put in place before you just say yes to somebody. Love is not enough, trust me. It takes more than more love to put relationship together. That's my opinion, really. All right, so it's the same man that dragged her to, that kind of thing. That she was like, it's like this Lukuman has spoiled her life. It's the same man, this Lukman, that dragged her to become a roasted plantain seller at Inla Junction. So she shuffles between plantain and corn, and then once it's plantain, bole, as Lagos people say, and bole, Port Harcourt people, she gives them Port Harcourt standard sauce. Can you imagine? It sounds even nice in my ears. Okay, so when caught, so in fact, she does it so well that our customers, our clients, sorry, clients come from all over the place. They say education makes a lot of difference in human affairs. So at least Isioma's Yabatek certificate has not wasted. Anyways, she has tried, and at least her daughter Kintel goes to private school from her income. So you ask me, what has Lukman been doing in all of this time that this woman is trying to make ends meet? When he said he's looking for job, and job he has not even tried to look for in how many years. He plays draft in the community. What a man. Okay, so the day this whole matter started was when somebody pulled up in front of our office under the sun at Chinlag Junction, and the man returned like 2 days later. He said he came all the way from Surulere, and and had all the nice things to say about the corn that and what they call ampere that he purchased from her. In fact, he even got down from his SUV, played with Kiton, you know the drill now, and even gave Kiton some money. And then he said his name was AE, and Kiton even really liked him and flew with him, unlike other customers that she'll be running away from. And you now, after receiving that kind of money, she wasn't, of course, she's not a bad person. She added more corn and pear for Of course, it's not like the money for the corn will be commensurate. At least it's a gesture of kindness to the man. In fact, that money even came as extra to the family, and she had to even use the money to buy clothes for Kiton. Amazing. And in fact, Lukman was very angry when he saw that he bought the same size. Man, so this like a perfectly fit size clothes for Kiton. That's the first time they are doing that. Can you imagine? It's true that what Damilare is saying is true. The author Damilare Kuku, nearly all the men in Lagos are mad, really. Okay, so Isioma and Heyi kind of developed a sort of cordial interaction between each other, and then later asked for Lukman's CV. You know Lukman's CV, Lukman now, Mr. Draft. He didn't even bring the CV. After 2 weeks, Isioma had to take the matters into her hands and try to and wrote out something for him and took it to the what they call it to the business center to help him print. But then you don't blame him. If somebody didn't blame me, she was like, he's just a good man, a little bit lazy, and he's a last born, only boy. So he's used to people doing things for him. Can you imagine such an excuse? So okay, so Lukman is Ishama is making an excuse for Lukman for being lazy and very laid back because he's last born and only son. And I think this is a point in learning for parents and for young people that even plan to be parents. It's important to raise our children as individual adults, not saying firstborn, lastborn, or anything, because when they get out of the family, their birth position only matter in the home. Once they get out, society doesn't help them to I mean at an interview you're not going to say I'm the last born and only boy and anybody's going to listen to you. So that's very important. So Hey was currently going through a separation process, which his wife who lives in the US and proposed to sleep with Isioma for 1 million naira. So 1 million naira to achieve her dream of setting up a neighborhood grocery store. And she didn't even want to do it. Though. In fact, she reported herself to Lukman as per good wife now. Shockingly, Mr. Lukman persuaded her to do it, in order to get them an upgrade in life. As a good and faithful wife, she still even refused though. But the Lukman himself kept on sucking on her, as in even did not eat her food and everything, convinced her and everything. But you can't blame her. I'm not blaming anybody. She eventually did it, went to Oshobo with Heyi on one of his trips, and they made love together. The twist is now that, in fact, Heyi gave her 1.8 million naira, and with the sugar daddy vibes, said your dream plus a little bit extra for your dream and a little bit extra. That sounded so cheesy in my head while I was reading it. You know that kind of thing that I was reading and I was literally hearing it in my ear. Okay, so when she now came back home and in fact got the room and parlor self-contained they are living in and did a bit of things for him, bought the wristwatch that Mufu was about stealing. Lukman now refused to talk to her and started treating her like she's a prostitute. And in fact, that's like what led to the first paragraph that she threatened to cut off Lukman's penis. Oh yeah, now judge the story. What do you think? What do you think? Let's hear in the comment section. Like, share this with your friend, comment, and let's do more things to so and let's hear from you, like from this conversation. Stay with us as we move on to our next chapter. This next chapter is amazing. I mean, I love this book, as I said earlier. Remember, this is Plan Path podcast, a podcast brought to you by Plan Path Consult, number one place for SDG for quality education in number one place for quality education in Africa, quality education, trainings, consult, news, resources, instructional design, counseling, and lots more. Thank you so much. Let's go on a quick commercial break before we go into the next short story. We'll be right back.
The blood path.
All right, so we are back now. We are talking about the gigolo from Isale Eko. All right, let me just do some explanation of definition of terms. Gigolo means sugar boy. You know the way you have a sugar mommy, a sugar daddy. Gigolo means a sugar boy. I think it's an Hausa word. I think I first heard it in the north. In the north, I first heard it in the north. So when you have sugar mummies, their boyfriends are usually called gigolo, or a man who loves so many women and gets favors from them is called a gigolo. All right. So gigolo, in this story, the gigolo here is Iggy, and I'm wondering what is the meaning of Iggy. Iggy is actually Ignatius. Imagine naming a child after Saint Ignatius of Loyola, and they call the child, and the friends now call him Iggy. In fact, at home they used to call him Iggy. So in my mind, I'm wondering, and really with parents, I wonder as well. Sometimes people just name their children things that I don't even. I'm not sure they even know the meanings of their names. One of things I do when I meet my students, I mean, maybe usually the first time, or people generally to familiarize myself, I ask them for the meanings of their names. And let me tell you, from my own observation, about 60% of people have never thought about their name, the meanings of their names. I've never thought about it. I mean, I met a child recently and I asked for the meaning of the name. I think I don't want to call the child name on air. And the child said, I've never thought about it. I'm like, interesting. And you bear a name. So that people call you almost every day, in fact multiple times in a day, and you are more than 10 years old and you don't know the meaning of your name. Exciting. So they really, their names have meanings. Meanings of names are very powerful, and it's good to name our children very, very nice and intentional names. So let's talk about the story. So Iggy is one guy like this. He grew up in Isaleko, and he has a friend. He has two friends actually. Sheni. Okay, so the Sheni is okay. So he grew up in Isaleko, and he grew up in Isaleko, and he grew up in Isaleko. I'm trying to just say how and his friend, the narrator of the story, his friend is they grew up together in Isaleko, and when they met, it was like Iggy's mom came to cook. He's like a caterer, came to cook in the guy's house, and Iggy was very confident, as the mother was working now, was just moving around the compound, then went to his room. That's how they became friends. And in fact, later on, they were so close that he threatened to leave the public school he is in for a private school, for a public school, because sorry about that mix up, for a private school, because he threatened to move from a private school to a public school because Iggy was going to a public school. Eventually his parents had to tell move Iggy to his private school, and later they even moved Iggy's family to his compound. But he was an only child, and his parents were quite doing well. So they were at Iggy's bachelor's party. Not the first wedding, trust me. The third wedding. Okay, so let's do a little bit of a background story on Iggy. So Iggy has been that kind of person that he has always just gotten favor from women, like in a lot of ways, I mean, after his NYSC. Okay, after his before he even went to NYSC at Isaleko, there's this booker, Yalatis booker, that people came there for, of course, to buy food and look at the girls, all the girls with big bum bum that usually sell at the market, at the, what they call it, at the restaurant. And people people usually, the men will be lusting after Yalati's girls, but in Iggy's case, in Ignatius's case, is the girls. It was the girls that were crushing on him. In fact, whenever they went there, he always got extra food, always got extra food. And in fact, every time they will now ask, anytime he now asks Iggy that, Iggy guy, how come you are getting more food? You now say, ah, now grace, oh bro. And in fact, this thing is so now grace, and now grace, oh. So one day, a week later, they went to eat there, and there was serious like fight. The girls with flying pans scratched their faces, tore their clothes. They fought because do you know why they were fighting? One of the girls that thought that she was Iggy's exclusive girlfriend found out that Iggy was sleeping with three other girls. Can guess the name of the girl? Her name is Grace. So when I was reading, I just laughed. I burst out laughing. In my mind, I'm like, next time anybody says na Grace to me, oh, I'll be asking which of the which of the Graces the person is talking about. Okay, so Iggy's first marriage. You remember that they are his third bachelorette party. Iggy's first marriage. Okay, so he served in Lagos, and his friend, narrator of the story, served at Enugu State. And during his 1 year in Lagos, he worked with a family at a business, a family that has a logistics business. And before he knew it, he had a two-bedroom apartment in Lekki, and things seemed to be going on well for him. In fact, and because he was dating the Oga's daughter, Folakemi, who was running the company, and before you know it, they had a breakup 6 months after 6 months after NYSC, because apparently another company, what they call it, another company looked for Iggy, saw him maybe online or something, saw Iggy, and then the senior madam, they said, had hunted him. And then because he's in fintech, and of course, you know, now is Iggy the gigolo. He had something to do with his new madam, and Folakemi found out about it, and she was very angry. In fact, she just renewed the rent for the year. Like, she was the month she paid a new house rent, and she was really angry. She wanted to even evict Iggy from the apartment. But what just saved him was that the receipt and tenancy agreement came in his name. Also, of course, the apartment is an estate in Lekki, and Iggy now told the security men not to allow her in. Can you imagine? I don't even know what to say to Iggy. So all those days were really crazy for Iggy. I mean, you know, that kind of thing that a lady bought in BlackBerry, the new madam in the fintech company in VI bought him a Toyota RAV4, of course, which was codedly. It wasn't like well known in the office. It was codedly between both of them. Another woman took him on vacations to Mauritius. Some girls decorated the apartment. Others kept sending food, because what happened is that when the narrator came back from NYC in Enugu, he moved in with Iggy. So the Sheni guy we're talking about is Iggy's colleague in fintech. They just met at work and found out that Sheni also grew up in Isale Eko. They are fellow Isale Eko boys. So eventually Sheni now moved out of his parents' house to join the other two guys. So post NYSC now, when people were still struggling and all of that, Iggy already had his life going on with girls in Lekki, clubbing and bar hopping on weekends, you understand? So it's like they really worked as a team. He identified the fun places to visit and the parties to attend. Iggy came with his car, some money, and a pool of girls. And then Shani, the calm-headed and sensible one, according to him, kept an eye on the guys. Of course, protected them from women stealing their money and bar pearls when they got drunk. He got them home and carried them to bed. Okay, so one day, in all of this their wildlife they were living. One day Iggy just said that he wanted to marry, like, to which of the women, like, you have a pool of them. Now said one Adwola. So we don't even know the lady. Oh. That's how Iggy introduced them to the lady. And then although she's from a wealthy home and all of that, she had no airs about her, and she preferred to really blend in, and she looked up to Iggy like a god. I don't know why that is. So anyways, so he said he didn't, he just liked that, which does not seem like it's true, typical Iggy now. So Iggy took her to the narrator's mom, which because his mom had passed on, and in fact his mom was even saying, don't you think you're rushing Iggy, rushing this whole thing, Iggy? And she was like, and he was, I know what I'm doing. I said, okay, all right, so if you say you know what you're doing, no problem. And that's how the narrator threw Iggy his first bachelor party. And it was while everything was going on, he was like, I really organized a good party. Oh. I could, I could start a business. He could start a business for partying and events, and that's how he started this whole business thing. So back to Iggy now. They had their wedding the next day, and of course now Iggy that know that the gigolo married somebody that parents gifted them a duplex in Parkview. They moved into it. 6 months after, they moved over to the US, and then of course gifted him the Ray 4 he was using. The Ray 4 that was madam at the company that bought for him. Can you imagine the gigolo? Okay, so after like 5 years, one day Iggy just came back home divorced, and then Shane and him were like, dude, what happened now, man? Like, he just went nothing, they just drifted apart. So but he came back with American passports because Oduola was what they call it, an American citizen. Anyways, that's how the whole thing happened though. So of course, when Iggy got back from the US along with his American passport now, okay, that's how the guys got back together, and Iggy and Shani started working together and started their own fintech company. Then their fintech company. Iggy being who he is, and he ran the marketing and business side of things, and Shani focused on the core tech and operations. They had clients and things were running well. Then he started a business, a barbecue and lounge business, and moved into the BQ behind the bungalow of his house. And then Iggy also did the same. He lived at the BQ behind the duplex. They also have their BQ in. Then Shani, of course, he retained their old apartment back then. So after work, the guys will come to the lounge and come and chill out and have dinner and drinks together. And that was how they met Jamila. Jamila came one evening with jeans, Converse jeans and sneakers. Converse, Converse sneakers, jeans, and her hijab. And then she ordered takeaway boy. That kind of thing. Like she ordered the author said that she ordered takeaway pork chops like a teen boy buying his first condom. That kind of thing. She was like, they'll be looking at me, I'm a Muslim buying pork. Anyways, he now looked at her and now said, don't worry, I'm Catholic and it's Good Friday and I've had pork and lamb chops today, and they smile together. So while she was waiting, she sat at their table, and over time they became friends, and she just became like their sister, and they usually gisted together. It was obvious that Shani had a crush on her, but then he never really said anything in particular. And that's how one day Mr. Iggy the Gigolo just came and said that she is now, like 6 months before 6 months after they met Jamila, Iggy just said he has converted to Islam and his name is now Iqbal. And he was like, why are you doing that all of a sudden? Like, your name is Ignatius after Ignatius of Loyola. Why you, what the hell is Iqbal? Let me read it the way the author wrote it. Said, your mother, God rest her soul, named you after Saint Ignatius of Loyola. What the fuck is an Iqbal? And then you can guess the rest of the story now. They married, and he asked her to marry, and she was blown off by his charm and all of that. And of course, they got married. And before you knew it, Shani was, of course, not happy about the whole thing. He felt like Iqbal, Mr. Iggy, the gigolo, backstabbed him, and he went to their wedding, and in fact got drunk, and he had to take Shani to his apartment, which was very unusual. Like the first time he ever did that. Shani is usually the sensible and sane one. So there was, of course, there was a bachelor party for him, and Shani didn't come for the wedding, for the bachelor's party, but he came for the wedding, and he tried to keep things cool. But then before he knew it, after Iqbal and Jamila returned from their honeymoon, Shani said he was going on a leave, and then before he knew it, he just went to Abuja and transferred the shares to him. Of course, before Jamila's uncle is a devout Muslim, and was a big shot at the Federal Revenue Service, and through him the company was given a contract to process incoming tax payment to the government for a percentage. That was the life-changing contract Igi had always hoped for. And then the value of the shares that Sheni transferred to him had already grown, like within a very very short time. So that only lasted for like 5 years. Eventually the uncle, retired. The contract wasn't coming through, and after a year after that, the marriage was over. Marriage of convenience, you would say. So, and that was how he had his second wedding, his second marriage. Now Iggy is getting married again to the third person. After the divorce, it's like Iggy and the guys got back together somehow, and things seem to be very cool now. At least Iggy is not with, quote and unquote, his babe again, Shani's babe again. That's Jamila, the person that Shani had a crush on. So anyways, now Iggy is marrying Pamela, and he said Pamela is like 60 years old, but Iggy is saying it's for love. I don't know. So Iggy is saying it's for love and all of that. So now at the party, his third bachelorette party, the lady, a lady, what they call it, he already brought a lady to, to just interact, to just meet Shani. But Shani is a smart guy, and he will probably not like something like that. So they will just meet randomly and all of that. So that's why, that is how the whole thing happened though. So Iggy, the Mr. Gigolo. Iggy Ugbal, Mr. Gigolo, Sheni. Typical Lagos life story. And truly, nearly all the men in Lagos are mad. Alright, let's go on a quick commercial break now, and we'll be right back to you. Thank you so much for always listening to us. All right, we have a bit of a technical issue now. Um, we have a bit of a technical issue. Apologies about that. So let's jump right into the next story. The next story, I'm not going to be narrating it in detail. It's called The Anointed Wife. It's really about a couple that was struggling. Then the wife told the husband one day that he's called into the ministry, he has a calling, a ministerial calling. That's how they started the church. Then one babe just came and said that the man, our daddy in the Lord, had sex with her, and in fact she was going to all the blogs and talking about him. And the husband did not even reply publicly. Literally like this, the wife wearing the trouser. That's how the woman kept on sending press releases and all of that. But the lady even wanted to write a book. She now said some things that the man was telling her, you understand, like in bed. And she now mentioned a particular phrase that made the woman know that it was actually the man that did this. She was like, the pastor told her that let's worship the Lord together in bed, let's go celebrate together the Lord together in bed. Immediately she read that, the mother in the Lord, the anointed wife, immediately she read that, she knew that the man was the one that actually did it. But then she found a way to protect him by releasing CCTV footage of the night that the lady claimed that they met at a hotel. Apparently the CCTV is doctored because the man stepped out that evening and came back. She didn't even know that business had gone, things had happened like that. In fact, sef, she said that she had caught him 2 times cheating, but then he never, she just observed from afar. She never actually confronted him about that. And I wonder why some women do that. They know their husband is cheating, but they never talk about it. Is it low self-esteem? Is it that they're afraid to lose the marriage, or what could be wrong? Please let's know your opinions in the comment section. All right. This one, we have, this book is long. It is interesting. If we say we should do everything, actually we are not going to end this episode at all. So I like this one. The next story is international relations. When I even first saw it, I thought that maybe the person is a diplomat or something. Apparently the babe said that she wanted to start dating only Oyinbo men because she was tired of the typical Lagos guy, boy, Lagos guy. Anyways, that was how she started her search. She took matters into her hands, started her search and all of that. She kissed so many frogs because before she eventually got one man, one Russian man like that. In fact, in the whole process, she met one Samid that is Lebanese, and of course, a Lebanese white people, of course, no. The Samid we are even talking about speaks Yoruba better than her. So she also met one who were a German and an engineer while she was at a restaurant one day. So she will go to places where she's likely to meet white people in Lagos. She said Victoria Island slash Lekki, Ikeja GRA, and Ilupeju. Those are the four places she mentioned. In my mind, I'm like, did she do a research? So later she met Apostle. Apostle is someone she had worked with at her old office. Apostle, his name is Apostle. Is he is a Russian. He is a Russian, and that's how they started talking. But something, what actually went wrong, went wrong with them is the fact that the day Apostle wanted to take her on one day Apostle wanted to take her on a lunch, or on a dinner date, and promised to pick her from home. That's how our old friend, one Ghanaian crazy guy that they went to school together, came and said that he was divorced and wanted them to be together, and she was saying no. And it was not like he loved her and all of that. That's how Apostle walked in and was saying that this guy is saying the guy is saying he loves you and all of that. And Apostle did not want to agree, so she got angry and told Apostle to leave her house. And thank God she didn't even agree for the chale self, because some months later she found out that the chale, the crazy guy, the Ghanaian guy, had gotten back with his wife, and she had lost the relationship with Apostle. The last paragraph said, looking back though, sometimes I wonder if there is peculiar madness that possesses men once they are in Lagos. Are all men in Lagos mad, or is it me? In the end, I'm back to where I started. Still tired of Lagos men. Nearly all of them are mad. I want weary. Interesting, really. Interesting conversations here. Damilare Kuku deserves an award for this book. Let's go on a short break and we'll be right back to conclude on the other stories. Thank you so much. My name is Oluwatosin Mugbadu Ade.
The blood path.
All right, thank you so much for staying through with us on this episode. I'll take one more story before we go. So Oedipus complex is about a lady, Yejide, preferred to be called Jide. She's a geologist. Her parents are university lecturers, professors. She met a guy on the plane, Uche. How she met him was that the mother wanted to exchange seats with her so they could sit down beside each other. That's how they met each other. And after they landed at Lagos. They were coming from Port Harcourt. After they both landed at Lagos, She eventually Uche helped her get a cab, and she got and gave her his card. It was later, about after about 4 days, that they called, and he was picking her up from the office at Via and dropping her at Ikeja. Uche stayed at Surulere. So anyways, that's how they started talking, and they liked each other. They started making love, and things were going on nice till he took her to meet the mom. His father is late, and the mom made it clear that she didn't like her. Fair was talking about how short her dress was, and the fact that she's Yoruba, not Igbo, and all of that stuff. So after they left, she yesterday felt that Uche didn't defend her in front of the mom, and was pretty pissed off. So eventually, after they left, they had their first fight, and things went really bad. So one day, Uche's mom now called Yejide, sent a message that she wanted to see her. Then Yejide went to see her. They booked an appointment to see. Went to the house, and then the mother was not like, yes, you guys now have my permission to marry, and you have to get pregnant before you marry, so that we know that you are fertile, because Uche is the only guy. The father lost his parents in the Biafra war, and they need somebody to she needs to be sure that whoever Uche is marrying can be able to, to get pregnant and keep the family line going. So she was apparently not happy with that. Then Uche came into the living room at that time. They hugged each other, and she now told Uche that she could not do it, because I mean, the mother-in-law that is already saying giving two conditions before getting married. Yeah, she must get pregnant, and they must live in the compound. So currently Uche lives at the BQ, the mother lives at the duplex. The mother was like, she doesn't mind living at the BQ and the family moving to the duplex, so that there will be enough space. But that kind of thing, that there's already so much drama with the mother-in-law, and the husband doesn't seem, that's Uche, the husband to be, or the guy Uche, does not seem to really want to confront the mother. There is so much, and Yejide just told herself she wanted to do it. The story ended up with her dashing out of the living room, and Uche running after her to beg her to come back, and she didn't look back. So really nice story. I really like that. I really like that. I really like that. So let's go on a quick commercial break, and we will be right back.
The blood path.
All right. So there are other stories in the book. I'm sure you've enjoyed these book reviews thus far. A Lover's Vendetta is the next story in the book. I really enjoyed that particular one. Sorry, we can't take that at the moment. Um, there's also First Times.